guys, we are back with yet another pickups video. Even though my area is getting drier than the Sahara at the minute, you know I ain't giving up trying to get them games. So first up this week, I headed into the city to visit my barber to get myself looking very fly. So you knew I had to hit up all those game shops and CX. Let's see how we got on. As soon as I get to CX, the first thing I'll always do is check out the window. And you can see there were some pretty cool collector's editions in the window. But you know it's going to be a bit worrying when they have Red Dead Redemption 2 and Borderlands 3 in the window. This was not looking too good. The next section I always look at is the glass-cased retro section. They had a pretty good selection of N64 stuff, as well as that boxed Pokemon Blue, which is £120. I think that's going to be there for a while. X does sometimes have some very random pricing, as you can see here by the price of Mass Effect Legendary Edition. Ouch. It's not very often you see these cool kind of slipcase for PS4 games, but I do like these, but I don't really know if I can justify buying the games again. I can see here the price of Destroy Humans is slowly creeping up, and I'm quite happy to see this and a bit relieved, and I'll explain why later in the video. One thing I really don't like about CX is the fact they reprint covers. At least they are marking this on the boxes now, but who is going to pay the same price for Red Dead 2 in a reprinted box as they are the original? So I always check out the Wii U games when I'm in CX, and there was an absolute epidemic of ones that had their covers reprinted here. It was like over half the games had reprinted covers, and I'm not going to be buying anything reprinted. Frankly, it's nothing I wanted, so I moved on to the next section. If you're like me and a fan of the Pokemon series, you will notice that the prices are going up and up and up. I've been planning to collect all the Pokemon games for a long while now, and I think the longer I leave it, the harder it's going to get, so I'm going to start really trying to catch them all. One thing I think a lot of people do not notice is how many different controllers there are for the PS4. Some of these are really awesome, but they really do hold their value. I was quite tempted to pick up this copy of Metro Exodus, but I do have the standard edition. So let's head back to the games room and see what I did pick up, this time from CX. As you can see from that footage, CX was not the greatest trip of all time, but it was far better than any of the charity shops I visited. Of the 5 I visited, I picked up no games whatsoever. So I had to cheer myself up by picking up this lovely little Sonic t-shirt for just £3. But we still do have a couple of bits in our CX brown bag of dreams. The first of which is this PlayStation 3 game, Genji Days of the Blade, which I've never actually seen before, and this was just £1.50. I kind of have a rule: if there is a cheap game which I haven't seen before, I will just pick it up, because you never know if it's going to be one of those kind of hidden gems or just one that's strangely rare. The other one is definitely not a hidden gem, is probably not rare, but it just comes under the WTF. And that is this Carol Vorderman Active Health, which comes with its own activity meter. This thing was literally £1. I've been kind of on a bit of a Game Boy kind of high at the minute. I keep picking up games. I like to pick up these kind of weird ones, especially when it comes to a weird peripheral. For £1, I could not add this into the collection just to add a little weird Nintendo DS oddity. Today's been quite a busy day for gaming pickups. That's because even on my way into the city this morning, I had time for a quick little Facebook Marketplace to pick up with these 2 PS4 games, the first of which is Destroy All Humans. So this is why I was kind of pleased to see it was going up in value in CX, as I picked up both these games for £13 for the both. So Destroy Humans, I think, did get a run through limited runs. So I don't know if this is a slightly different version. I have seen this on Amazon. It was a lot cheaper picking it up on the Facebook Marketplace. The other one is Jurassic World Evolution, which I wanted to get the physical disc of, as I have been playing this on Games Pass, but we all know games come and go on Games Pass, and with the sequel being announced and coming out soon for this game, it's either going to go one of 2 ways. The value's either going to go up, or it's going to absolutely skyrocket as people jump on the sequel. But you know me, I love all things Jurassic Park and Jurassic World, so it's a dumb one, but it's got to be in the collection. If you're a gamer like me who collects a lot of games off eBay, you're probably going to get a lot of emails saying, would you like this item? Have you considered this? Maybe this will complement your purchase. But it's not very often this actually works. But I did get an email through about this game, Exhaust Heat, which is boxed and complete on the SNES. And this was going for £5 for a boxed and complete SNES game. That is very, very good. As you can see, as I open this up, it is literally all complete inside. It has the instructions and the cart still in the cardboard. It might not be the most desirable SNES game, but just looking at it, it is still in really good condition from a game that is from all the way back in 1992. For £5 for a complete box SNES game. Thank you eBay for the recommendation. The city may have been a bust for the charity shops, but my local town had a lot more stuff on offer and picked up quite a few games on a visit there earlier in the week. So first up we have a couple of PlayStation 3 games. These were super cheap, £1 each. First off is Driver San Francisco, which is one I've been looking to play for a long while. I'm a really big fan of the Driver games. I do hope they come back soon. I think, to my knowledge, correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, this was the last game released in the series, so I'm looking forward to checking this one out. And also picked up Pirates of the Caribbean, the Lego game. I'm not a massive fan of the films, but there is nothing better on a rainy day than cuddling up on the couch with your significant other and playing through a Lego game with a little bit of couch co-op. Another couple of cheap pickups, we have Ace Combat 6 and Shadow the Hedgehog, the least popular of the Hedgehogs. As you can see, he has a t-shirt. But the thing is, I didn't actually open these games until I got home, and when I opened up Ace Combat 6, you can see inside there is a copy of Call of Duty Black Ops 3. So I'll probably just stick this up on eBay as disc only, just to make a couple of pound back on these purchases. We've got two more things I managed to pick up from the charity shops in my local town, and they are both quite strange items. The first of which is this Plants vs Zombies Garden Warfare 2 Lunchbox. And I'm totally blaming my wife for this one, for getting me on the Lunchbox kick. As you can see behind, she is a fan of the Pokemon card Lunchboxes. So it's a bit of a weird one. I don't know if it's from a collector's edition or just kind of something they made to go alongside the game, but it'll look nice up on a shelf hiding between all the Pokemon Lunchboxes. It's not very often these days you see big box PC games, but they are something I really like, especially when they are iconic games such as Myst, which is also getting released again on the Xbox Games Pass later this week. So, picked this up from a charity shop. It was in a glass display case. It was £3, but the condition of this again is absolutely sublime. I really like big box PC games for the same reason I like vinyl records. They are just bigger and I like the artwork. The crazy thing about this one is how incredibly complete it is. If I open it up here, you can see it has hints for the game. So if you read there, it says only to open if you are truly stuck, and the person who played this before me must have been a pro, as they never even opened the envelope. Also, we have the complete journal of Myst inside the box, as well as a mail away, because this is how we used to get information about new games back in the day. There was no YouTube, there was no IGN, this is how we found out. And of course we have the CD-ROM in there. Really cool to add another complete big box PC game into a very small but very good collection. These days there seems to be tons of companies making gaming loot boxes. And I'm not talking about the ones that EA Games put into their games to actually make money. I'm talking about the kind of geeky boxes that contain video games merch, clothing and all that general kind of stuff that no one really wants. So normally I would say these are terrible, but this week I bought this amazing item off eBay and it has countered that point. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the official Vault-Tec bum bag. This is both functional and sexy. I'm going to be wearing this to every car boot so I can put all my change in here ready to buy those games. I'm sorry, but this, people, is what peak performance looks like. We've come to our final pickup, and this one does come with a bit of a story. As you could say, this is kind of Dan the Games Man, the origin story. So when we go back as collectors, we always got to have that moment where we know we're going to start collecting on that next level. And for me, it started with a story of loss. So when I moved into this house, I cleared out a lot of clutter. By clutter, I was selling off like old clothes, DVDs, and also a couple of games consoles. It was only when I sold these games consoles that I kind of realised how much I missed them. I missed not being able to just plug them in on a rainy Saturday afternoon and play through some of those classic games again. So this week I had one of them come up on Facebook Marketplace for a decent price. I had to jump in and add it back into the family. So here we have the newest member of the family, all lovingly wrapped up in this plastic bag. This is the way I like to pick up my games, just in a huge bundle in a bag. So have a quick guess what console you think I've added, and if you guessed it was the PlayStation 1, you would be right. So this was a game I added very late into its life cycle. I was mainly an N64 gamer back then, But on playing some of the other wrestling games available for the PlayStation 1 round of cousins, I knew I had to add it into my collection. So back then, wrestling games didn't just release on every single system. On the N64 you had your No Mercies, and on the PlayStation 1 you had the SmackDown series. They were very different, but they were very good wrestling games, and as a wrestling fan I had to play them all. As well as all the leads and stuff, and a couple of games, this did come of course with a controller, but the strange thing is, it's not the actual controller that goes with the PS1. So this is the standard grey analog, which was also available for the PS1. But the weird coincidence is, I actually had one of the correct coloured controllers already in my collection. I can't even remember picking this up. Obviously it's not one from my old one as I sold it, so I don't really know how I actually managed to have the right controller colour for the right console. Before we get onto the games, we've got a few more accessories from this pickup. The first up is this third-party Madcatz Controller. As you can see, it's kind of slightly clear, as everything was back in the late 90s and the early 2000s. It has got some quite nice grips on the back, and it's always good to have a spare controller. What makes me laugh though is this memory card, which is a Blaze 1 megabyte memory card. When you think about how big the hard drives are now on the new PlayStation and Xbox, it is hard to believe we could fit our save data and so much memories on 1 megabyte. It's always nice to pick up a stack of games when you pick up a console. There's nothing too exciting here, nothing to write home about, even the condition isn't fantastic, but we have Bust and Move. As you can see, the case is a little bit broken up there. Army Men, Air Attack, a copy of Urban Chaos, which is an absolutely fantastic game, but as you can see is missing the cover. Worms Pinball, which is a game that should never really be pinball, it should be Worms. It wouldn't be a gaming console pickup without a sports game. We have Knockout Kings. One that's probably the best of the bunch is this Midway Arcade Party Pack. Loads of classic games. You've got Smash TV and Rampage on there, so that's a pretty cool one. Also, if you ever pick up anything for the PlayStation 1, chances are this game is going to turn up, and that is Tonka Touring Cars. I defy anyone who had a PlayStation 1 and didn't own this. I think everyone either owned this or played it at some point who had a PlayStation 1. And the final one is Tomorrow Never Dies, the game which basically was not as good as GoldenEye. There we have it then, another week of pickups completed, and I hope you guys feel like you know me a little bit better now we've heard my origin story and what really got me into collecting. So it is getting harder to find stuff out there, but you know I ain't going to quit. I be plumbing the depths, that Facebook Marketplace, that CX, and those charity shops, finding the bargains. So remember to like and subscribe. See you every Saturday for new videos, and remember, keep playing the game.